Yo.
You are on break, and I was just fucking. Well, I got COVID. Congratulations for me. I was in Texas. I brought it
Congrats.
back.
Yep.
So I'm calling you again because once again, fates do bring us together on bullshit like this. So before we continue on to the audience that is watching, we knew about this for a long time. We knew about this since when? I want to say
We suspected things. We suspected something was going on. There were like kind of rumblings in the community. It launched in July. Almost immediately, people were skeptical. And then I was contacted, and I think you were. Now I know you were too.
haha, can't really be surprised, ladies and gentlemen. Ice Poseidon gets caught basically red-handedly admitting that he took a big chunk of money out and has no goddamn remorse for it.
If you want the answer, yeah, I could give the money back. It is within my power. But I'm going to look out for myself and not do that.
It's not that any of us ignored it. I know for a fact me, CoffeeZilla, and Barely Sociable all basically got in touch and talked about this entire situation. But to understand the context, months ago we were covering big stories. Stories such as Save the Kids and the Rubet story, which ended up becoming a 6-part series where each and every part took its own level of research, crafting, and whatnot. It was a massive mega project that was one of the biggest collaborations I've ever done, and it was an infinitely bigger story than this. Now, Ice Poseidon is a character that I've actually come to know, alright? I've actually talked to this person behind the scenes. During the Save the Kids dilemma, I actually asked him about his good friend Sam Pepper, who he was known to associate with. And from what we understood, Sam Pepper was in fact a very shady, seedy individual. But Ice Poseidon was one of those people that also had their own cryptocurrency ideas and plans running at the same time in parallel. We figured Ice Poseidon wasn't going to be as stupid as we had thought. Ladies and gentlemen, I can be proud to say that I am wrong in this situation, and Ice Poseidon was in fact stupider than I had ever conceived. Now, to understand, influencers and cryptocurrencies and NFTs, these are a massive little wave that's hitting us recently, where influencers have decided shelling out coins and NFTs are sort of the future, basically by creating these like monopoly tokens on the internet and getting a bunch of their fans to jump in and invest and buy into their crypto token dreams, only to realize that a few hours later they've been rug pulled, the money has been taken away from them, and the influencer has gotten notoriously rich in a short amount of time is something that's becoming a massively big problem. It's something that started, I would say, all the way back in 2020, maybe late 2019, and it's only exacerbated all the way into 2022. So to understand, Ice Poseidon is one character that's been on the internet for a long time. Very controversial character. To understand, he was a very introverted RuneScape streamer. Then he became the face of IRL streaming. He started a mansion in Los Angeles where he got a bunch of other, individuals, influencers, crackheads, whatever you want to call it. They sat together, basically all made content, IRL content, and that was effectively the game for a little while. Until, of course, the FBI had raided Ice Poseidon's mansion and all of the CX network and the dreams came to a crashing halt. Now, to understand, the entire community behind this actually manifested in the known name as IP2. Now, for brief context, IP2 was an actual community that was formed after Ice Poseidon started heavily moderating his original subreddit. Obviously, this subreddit was created that then focused on an unmoderated sense of Ice Poseidon's behaviors and various, activities, and obviously Ice Poseidon did in fact have a growing toxic community behind him, for sure. This is one man that actually has a swatting compilation. No, not just one swatting incident, the amount of incidents Ice has went through are enough to make a goddamn compilation out of. So again, there's no doubt that there's a community that is out there to make him look bad. There's a community out there that basically wants him gone, wants the absolute worst for him. And again, I have to reiterate, I don't condone any form of harassment or anything of that nature. But in reality, I'm looking at this because at the end of the day, when archives are made, when clips are made, when screenshots are saved, when stream highlights are saved with their applicable context, obviously if somebody commits something shady, I'm going to look at that specifically on its own merit, without the involvement of the various members of the IP2 community. Now, to understand, IP2 said it, basically looked around, and this is something that's been blowing up internally within their system for a long time. In fact, over here it said, oh shit! Muda posted this one, guess what? I did in fact have a video, which you're watching today. I remember Ice calling me months ago off stream that I shouldn't be dragging his name through the mud. Of course, you can see how friendly the community can be when I'm beautifully referred to as Poo in the Loo is finally coming through. Don't worry, nothing on the internet could ever offend me, okay? I've been around the image boards long enough to be completely desensitized to most things. Now, back then, IP2 was sending me a bunch of media, a bunch of things about CxCoin. In fact, one that I actually had saved from a long time ago was this beautiful little clip. Let's watch it.
The reason why I'm not going to start a crypto coin is because someone's going to get because, dude, if I see it $1 million, I'm selling. I don't give a I'm not going to be like, I'll hold for you guys, bro. I see $1 million in my portfolio, I'm out. Like, you're telling me I could create a CX coin and then people could buy it because I could say that the community is super strong and then I could sell it in 10 seconds and make $10 million. What the doing? I'm sitting here taking donations instead. What the am I doing?
You see, when somebody like that is running a coin, all right, maybe it's a smart idea to not invest in whatever bullshit they're peddling you. But when I saw this and I looked a little bit further, this is an exact clip of me finding out and looking deep into Ice Poseidon's CxCoin. And over here, you can actually see, at this point, Ice Poseidon had contacted me in the middle of this live stream that I was doing on YouTube. Yo, saw you looking at my coin. Once again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Just looking at it, been getting DMs, obviously from the IP2. Have you ever mentioned the Tesla purchase, which we'll actually get into a little bit later on, which was a real pivotal sort of investigation point for some of this shit. Not from the coin, context, my girlfriend of 3 years moved out 2 weeks ago. She had a car, so I didn't need one. She left, so now I needed one. It was something I was thinking about for a while. I also put $6,000 down on it, which obviously I can afford that. I don't need to do shady crypto shit to buy a car, bro. Come on. I have actual proof and shit pinned to the public on my Discord if you really want to know, instead of looking at sites that exist to harass streamers. Remember, this is something that ICE was gaslighting us with the entire time. I'm not saying that IP2 wasn't out to like troll and basically harass Ice Poseidon. Don't get me wrong. That kind of stuff definitely exists in that community out there. But when people are screenshotting and cataloging all the Bitcoin transactions, various VODs, that with the context looks really bad, it's not really so much trolling as it is archival, and the archives definitely shoot you in the foot. Alright, just let me know, bro. Don't drag my name through the mud without getting my side at least. Oh, yeah, really? Well, I got your side. Don't worry about that one. So anyways, we got into a call and he talked a whole lot about investments and alternate coins and how you can make a lot of money if you know exactly when to join the pump and get away from the dump. In fact, Ice Poseidon even enlightened me to the world of virtual real estate. Sorry, Ice, I'm not exactly a great investor like you would be. I actually own real estate. I don't need the virtual world to entertain me. Called me old-fashioned, but I don't need to exactly jump into it. Then again, I'm not here running coins on my audience. So let's go into the actual real meat and potatoes. Now, in this near infamous live stream that I've been sent a million times, picking up a Tesla, streamed on the 24th of July, this one was a near 4-hour stream of Ice Poseidon going to the Tesla dealership to pick up his brand new Tesla Model 3. Now, of course, what's rather interesting is the date that this was aired, 24th July 2021. Of course, if you even look into the chat right over here, you can see that he was promoting through Stream Elements, join the CxCoin Telegram group. Again, if you don't know what Telegram is, a lot of these shit coins typically have a Telegram or a Discord group where they sort of coordinate the coin together, you know, sort of guide it moving forward, get a community together of people who are just investing into it and whatnot, okay? It's just a group of people joining into all of these. It's typically like, it's something for like any coin out there, okay? It's not something super shocking. But we'll look into that too. So CxCoin is the website over here, the little web page that was made. It's still up, by the way, completely out there, that actually talks about this coin that ICE had made. So let's go look through what this coin actually did, because what ICE told me is it's a great incentive for streamers on the platform to get a little bit of donations, a little bit of equity, and a little bit of more money than they normally would get from these live. It was great for streamers, great for them making a buck. So let's get into it. From CxCoin to the people, CxCoin is building a platform to allow streamers and content creators a safe and easy method of receiving support through cryptocurrencies, along with its auto buyback system. So again, if we go down over here, you can see that they've got their tokenomics, which means fuck all to me. You can go down and see it's got partners, Binance Smart Chain, which I remember ICE telling me this is where like almost like every scam coin was going to. So it's impressive that you picked this one over anything else. TechRate, which is an audit firm, which means jack shit. Anytime you see audit firms or people saying, my coin, this coin's audited, the audit means nothing, okay? The audit literally means the code on the coin is functionable, okay? It doesn't have any issues, security issues in it, okay? It doesn't mean that the coin is not prone for you getting scammed. In fact, we're going to go through a lot of these like anti-scam practices on coins and sort of break them down. Our vision, CxCoin is a community-based and community-driven token, guaranteeing complete transparency through every milestone of the project. Our responsibility is to create a fast, secure, and easy way for streamers to receive crypto donations from their viewers. Whether you want to donate CxCoin, BNB, or any other cryptocurrency, we are here to help. So again, if you go down, they've got some donation terminal that you can jump into. And again, I don't know if any of this shit ever fucking materialized. Believe it or not, this roadmap I don't think is ever going to materialize ever since the money has been pulled out from the liquidity. And again, here's the message from the founder. So if you actually click on all of this is Ice Poseidon initially promoting this coin, and it's actually available on YouTube, completely unlisted, and uploaded the 8th of July, 2021. So again, when you look at this coinciding with the Tesla purchase, it's literally within the same goddamn month. Now, I'm not saying that this is indicative that Ice Poseidon had bought himself a brand new vehicle through the proceeds of cryptocurrencies that he was running, but, well, frankly, when he was running this, he must have made a lot of money before that Tesla purchase ever really became a thing. But in order to get into all of it, it doesn't necessarily prove that Ice was embezzling funds to go purchase personal property for himself or any sort of asset. However, it makes anybody a little sus. And when you're a federal investigator, which ICE has definitely been accustomed to, given his past dealings with the FBI, why he would open himself up to any form of investigation, any form of suspicious activity, is absolutely beyond me. Now, one of the first actual little tips that we ended up getting with this was actually from months ago. So July 16, 2021 was when we started to get these initial tips. Again, remember, July 16, 2021 was a few days before that one Tesla purchase had hit. One Twitter account, @TheRealGroper, actually tweeted at me, CoffeeZilla, and Barely Sociable about Ice Poseidon's wallet address to receive the BNB after dumping his tokens has amassed more than 600 BNB, around 180k at the time. So when we looked at this one, we actually saw at some point he was getting 6.3, 2.7, and then a big massive transaction from OX15 all the way out to OX19A833 in these various wallet addresses. So again, 122 BNB is not a small amount, not whatsoever. And then they started linking other addresses in relation and various other ones. Now back then I even said looking into this one for a bit, which I did. But for a lot of these, you want to see the actual process go all the way through. If ICE hadn't committed what we're about to see, this video would not be in the same vein that I'm making it right now. Frankly, let's go look into what these wallet addresses were individually doing. So for instance, this is OX158801F8. Now on the BSC chain, you can actually go and literally title these on your own. We've done this before for various other things like Rubets. So for instance, here I'm titling it Ice Poseidon Alleged, simply due to the fact that, well, I'm going to go with the allegations, even though in Coffee's video he's all but admitted to this kind of stuff on his own personal level, which may not prove well for any federal agent watching him, okay? But then again, ICE was never known to be an intelligent person, okay? He frankly was just one person that got really goddamn lucky. Now I looked all the other addresses, so OXB2, which is the one in question here, the one where we're actually going to see some real wild shit happening, and I've noticed, I've actually titled that one to be OXB2D-EAA as Ice Poseidon 2 Alleged. Now there's a few other ones, but these are the very important key ones out there. So again, if you look at the time framing of the join the Telegram on the 8th of July, what we saw at this point was this one account sending literally like a week after, basically, the tune of almost $40,000 and cashing it out in real money, okay? So a little bit out there, but then again, let's go through further into the history, okay? Now, what's really important is this communicates to another wallet, which is the OXB2 wallet we saw earlier in that thread. So where it gets really damning and wild is the second address, which we had no idea of up until like basically a few days ago when this entire shebang had happened, is when you look real close, you can see the CxCoin liquidity pool. All right, so Ice Poseidon contacts the CxCoin liquidity pool, handles all the Pancake LP, which is basically the Pancake swaps like liquidity pool stuff. And then you go all the way down to CxCoin liquidity pool public tag, and you can see right over here to the Pancake swap router what's basically being removed in liquidity again. Again, that's the actual that's the execution that's happening. If we go just back and really look into it. Again, removing liquidity Ethereum, you can see that 657 BNB wrapped is pulled out. How much is that worth? $291,000, so around $300,000. And from all the other money that we've seen pulled into this account and pushed out of it during the time frame of the CxCoin token, this is where the round figure of like $400,000 to $500,000 comes out from. This is investor money put into this that ICE then pulled out and kept for himself. All right. Now again, ICE has admitted this on Coffee's video, so it's out there. If he wants to deny it, there's already a lot of ammunition put up against the man right here. So again, once that money is taken from this entire system, when it's pulled out in that amount of BNB, well, let's see how much BNB the account actually has. It has currently 30 sitting inside it, so around 11 grand at the current value worth as of the recording of this video. So if we look at the actual transactions going around, you can see that 330 BNB was pulled out on the 22nd. So as the liquidity was removed, same day, 330 BNB was cashed out. How much is 330 BNB? That's somewhere to the tune of 118,000. Again, where was that sent to? That was sent to a service known as CxCoin. For those of you who don't know what CxCoin is basically an exchange. It's a crypto exchange where KYC is, I would say, very haphazardly done. KYC, know your customer, is not even mandatory on KuCoin. That's a 5-month-old post. But here it said you can do many functions and even transactions when using an unverified account to a withdrawal limit of 5 BTC per 24 hours. How much is 5 BTC? Well, let's look at it to US dollars real quick. Even if it's every 24 hours, 1 Bitcoin is 38,000. So again, let's just do the math real quick. 38,000 times 5. That would be to the tune of almost $200,000, allegedly, if that post by the moderator is to be believed. That's a lot of money you can pull out without going through a simple KYC AML check, which, for those of you who don't know, when it comes to finance, these checks are very important, because without these checks, the concept of money laundering is brought in, financing evil organizations could be a situation. There's a lot of negative things that can happen to you if you don't KYC properly. In a legitimate banking system, you're KYCing all the time. Now, that's a lot of fucking money being pulled out of the situation. But if it's one thing to realize very quickly, even with the liquidity removed, one thing to really talk about is this a rug pull? According to what we have just seen, yes, it is in fact a rug pull, whether ICE wants to completely admit it or not admit it. Now let's go look at liquidity pools real quickly. Okay, now that this money has basically been removed from the situation, it becomes a little apparent that he's putting in around $1,000, putting in, basically taking some of the CxCoin and putting it into a null burn address to the tune of, what is it? Billions of CxCoin gone. So effectively, what appears to be happening in this situation, and this is something I discussed with Coffee as well, and this is something new that we've seen. Basically, by getting the ratio of one coin to another coin, the liquidity pair, we're artificially changing the prices. So this increase is actually all smoke and mirrors.
So they didn't put it in as liquidity tokens. They actually bought CX coins. Okay. This caused the price to jump, to spike, because they removed the CX and didn't put it back in. They removed the BNB and put a little bit of it back in, but the ratio shifted because of that, because the CX coin is artificially low. Yeah. The BNB goes in, it makes it look like the price is pumped. In actuality, they've only put $40,000 more of liquidity, but it looks like the price tripled. But in reality, when you go to sell, that price is going to fall.
It's got
way faster.
People get there, once people are allowed to modify the ratio, because that's how liquidity pairs work. You have like a ratio of coin to like, stable, right? Like
yes, price is literally just the ratio of CX coin to BNB.
Because on a healthy coin, what we would probably see is like they would have a pairing of like a stable coin, right? Like a wrapped BNB or like wrapped Ether or like fucking USD to T or some shit as like a as one pair, and then they would have their altcoin. And the idea is, if you're running a liquidity pool, a legitimate pool, you're trying to keep them as level as they can, right? Because and liquidity pool owner will like try to just
stable.
Their money.
They want it stable, so it's a big pool, so that when you take something out, the price doesn't fluctuate by a lot.
So let's go talk about liquidity pools real quickly. I want you to think of a liquidity pool like this. Let's say you're going to a different country. Let's say you're going from Canada to the United States. Well, see, in order to use anything in the United States, in order to buy things or do whatever, you need US currency. So typically, in order for me to get Andrew Jackson over here, which I think is the actual founding father on the 20. What I have to do is I have to go to a Canadian bank. I have to give them the equivalent of $20 American in a Canadian currency. And then the bank, what they do is they don't just have US currency and they just trade and give it to you. What they effectively do is they buy US currency with the Canadian currency and then give that to you. So think of a liquidity pool like that, okay? The only way for me to buy US currency is if there's a bunch of US currency sitting in an exchange for me. So what they do is they take my Canadian money, they give me the American money, and for somebody who wants Canadian money, they then go to that same exchange and then they basically give them American money for the Canadian. So it's just an exchange that's going on. Now, again, for the exchange to work and for it to be healthy, it needs to have a pretty equaled out ratio. So you can't just buy cryptocurrency or any of these shit coins out of nowhere. They're part of liquidity pools. So the liquidity pool typically has a pairing like this. It has the shit coin, which in this case is CxCoin. The other aspect is the actual worthwhile currency. So it could be Ethereum, wrapped BNB, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, whatever currency is actually worthwhile. A stable coin, for instance. Now, imagine, in this case, if you put in a lot more of the worthwhile token, but suddenly you burn the CX token. Well, according to the ratio, the CX token may be worth more. But see, that's all smoke and mirrors. When actual transactions pour in, all of a sudden, the smoke and mirrors fall down onto you, and the price really didn't matter to begin with. This is what we're getting into with these pools. But what's important with the liquidity pool is when it's unlocked or locked. Now, when I looked into this initially, this was a locked liquidity pool. But a locked liquidity pool means jack shit. Remember this. If the team that's behind the coin has like 10 to 15 to 20% of their shitcoin in their own holdings, even if the liquidity pool is locked, they could sell their 20% shitcoin holdings and get a lion's share of the worthwhile cryptocurrency in the liquidity pair and take it for themselves. Therefore, a locked pair does not mean jack shit. Again, this is something you have to learn going forward, and to prevent yourself from being scammed in any capacity. So if you look at the PooCoin charts real quickly, I know, ignore the name, the one liquidity pool where this money was siphoned out from currently has $80,000 worth of money put into it. Now you might be wondering, oh shit, it's got liquidity, man. It can't be a fucking rug pull. Well, it is, because if Ice Poseidon, all right, in one of his alleged wallets, according to his own admission, pulled out hundreds of thousands of dollars, that without a doubt is a rug pull. It killed the coin. That's money that never belonged to him. That's investor money that was poured into that liquidity pool that he then siphoned out and took for himself. Now, of course, does Ice have any remorse? Doesn't seem like he does. In fact, he's watching out for himself. See, Ice Poseidon was already on his way out of the YouTube community, so I guess in my opinion, it really just appears to be a situation of, hey, I'm already on my way out, what's wrong with a few $100,000? Get a bag and get the fuck out. This is a situation where I have no goddamn remorse for people like Ice Poseidon. I think when you're in this audience and you're running this entire game, your audience is what makes you. It's what breaks you, it makes you, it's what puts you there to begin with. What Ice Poseidon has done is one of the shittiest, most evil things that I've seen that any creator can do to their fan base. Unfortunately, it's becoming far more common. To understand what Ice has done is criminal. What Ice has done is something that could land him in hot legal water. Even if Ice thinks that he can get away right now, I actually firmly believe in the next 5 years, a lot of these influencers that are currently pushing shady crypto, shady NFT deals, without actually running them through proper legal channels or giving any form of a moral shit about it, are probably being investigated at this moment by any federal agency out there. To understand, the feds do not operate at the drop of the hat. These people, unfortunately, are not at the same tier as actual criminal lords in the world right now. Remember, the feds are made up of actual human beings that have actual people to hunt down. That's not to say any of this is being ignored. In 5 years, I can imagine a lot of these people will actually have the hammer come down onto them. And remember, at the end of the day, if you are a US investor who has put money into CxCoin, first of all, even according to ICE's admission, you should have had the due diligence, which I actually agree with. Do not put money into an influencer coin. Looking at any of these, it takes 5 minutes. Okay, it took 5 before this scam even happened. It took 5 minutes to look into CxCoin and realize this is not something I want to put my money into. At the beginning of this video, I showed you a clip where Ice remorsefully said, hey, if I see $1 million in a portfolio, I'm cashing that bitch out. This is not the person you should trust. People who ended up trusting Ice, frankly, are not the smartest tools in the shed. but that doesn't mean that they're allowed to be taken advantage of. If you have been taken advantage of, there's plenty of resources for you to go file a complaint and start some level of investigation. Remember, if enough complaints get sent, there are federal agencies that are compelled to actually act. ICE Poseidon, who's already tickled the butt cheeks of the Federal Bureau once, I am surprised he's went down the same path. But to be honest with you, ICE Poseidon probably is looking to liquidate that Tesla and fly out of the country in some capacity. And he probably should. He probably should pick a country that has no extradition treaty at the moment. Because if he doesn't, and he stays in the United States, at some point that hammer is going to come down and deliver him some sweet justice. Again, when you go back into the situation and you look at where these large BNB transactions go, it connects a lot of these alleged wallets into the same hot wallet that's used to exchange this money for actual credible currency. Again, these people don't even believe in the crypto stuff that they have. It's just a grift for them to make money, convert it to actual US dollars, and invest it into something more tangible. They don't believe in crypto. It's just a nice way to siphon money out of the fans. So again, I'm not going to sit here and kind of take this anymore. And frankly, I'm actually pissed that any of us kind of let this slide. To be honest with you, ICE Poseidon was never relevant at this point for us to really dig deep into it. In fact, I'll freely admit, I don't think he was this stupid, and I was already covering much more larger things to begin with alongside my, co-investigator CoffeeZilla and Barely Sociable. Frankly, getting to this point, seeing what ICE has done, has put him as one of the most evil creators out there. And frankly, I hope the actual worst can happen to him legally. I hope that he does pay for some of the crimes that he is actually alleged to have committed. This stuff is definitely on the very shady side of legality. And I can see that this is going to bite ICE at some point down the ass. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not a week from now, maybe not a month. But if you have ever been scanned by CxCoin, you owe it to yourself and various people around to report it to relevant authorities. And if you ever see an influencer push a coin like this, do your due diligence. Look into everything about it before you even conceive investing. Look, I'm not offering you financial advice. I'm not clearly capable of giving it. It's not my licensed field. But if you actually want to invest your money, please talk to a financial expert. And if you've got money to spend on stuff like this, invest it wisely. Again, talk to financial advisors. Don't fall for people running crazy, shady schemes. Because frankly, they're the ones that are going to sit there and profit, and you frankly are going to be left holding bags. And maybe you might not even be holding a bag at all. You might just have your money taken away from you, and that's the end of that. In an unregulated field like crypto, you really owe it to yourself to have the most due diligence out there. But that said, I've said my piece. I've talked about it. Frankly, let's see what ICE is going to do from now on. This is me, Mudahar. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.